tell behind the scenes stories of the fire department and people that work in the fire department. And my name's Bob, and this is Doug. And today we have a special guest, Jeff. And Doug and I both worked with Jeff quite a bit back in the days. And I just wanted to say we're telling funny stories, but oftentimes some of the action stuff that we went to wasn't all that funny. And way back when, we used to help the police out a lot with things. And there was a 3-story walk-up where there was 2 guys in one of the units and that were just killing one another. They were just fighting and going at it. And one of the neighbors called the police. So the police came up and you could hear them in there and knocked on the door. They just stopped and started to barricade the door. So now they're fighting again. They're making a noise and so the police want to get in there. So they asked the fire department to come along and put a ladder up on outside of the building to the bottom of the window, so they could get up and see what's going on when they went inside. They were gonna, so we did that. And one of our captains, he was quite a competitive guy. And there's no damn way that the fire department's going to set up a piece of equipment and let a cop go up at first, right? So as soon as we get out, we get it up, boom, he's at the edge and he's starting up the ladder. The police are going, and he gets to the top and he puts his hand on the windowsill and looks out, and just as soon as he put his head over, bang, a cue ball came out the window, and the glass just sort of rained down on him. Luckily he had his bunker gear on and didn't get cut or anything like that. But boy, he was spitting mad. So they decided that wasn't a good idea to look up through that window. So they wanted to know if we had forcible entry tools, which we did. So we went up to the 3rd floor with the cops, and there must have been 7 or 8 cops in the halls, and they like sort of surrounded each side of the door. And the other guy and I that were on the unit, we had 2 big sledgehammers, and the idea was to hit the locks, bang, bang, one after another. The cops hit the door and opened the door. Well, we hit the locks and broke the lock. The cop hit the door, but the door sort of opened onto a hallway. He went to the left to the bedrooms and like 3 steps to the right, and there was a kitchen. But what they did was piled up furniture in this hallway so that when the door came open, it couldn't open, right? So anyways, the police worked at that for quite a while and finally got inside. And I'll never forget this because we were standing back about 2 apartments watching, and you could see the door, right, and people going in and out, right? And there was a cadre of about 5 cops in a scrum that were just at the door. And as soon as they got the wreckage away from them, they could get through. In they go, and you think, okay, this is over for the boys, and you hear screaming and hollering, and all of a sudden, they get pushed out. And that goes back and forth, and there's just 2 guys in, and they were pushing, they weren't letting them in, and that was a cater like 5 cops on top of one another. Finally, they got him out in the hallway, and I'll never forget one guy. I mean, he might have weighed 120 pounds. He was scrawny. He went down on his hands and knees, and the cops, 2 cops landed on him, and he just went like that. And threw the cops right off him, just like the Incredible Hulk. They were on meth and smoking meth, right? And superhuman powers. But I often thought to myself, anytime I see police brutality on the TV set, that what you're seeing is that moment, because if people would have videoed that moment where they're trying to get these guys down and actually hammering their backs with their batons to get them to lay down. They'd have thought police brutality for sure, without noticing there's 3 cops with broken fingers.
Yeah, no doubt. I had a 3-story walk-up story to tell.
Yeah, and that's with another ladder too, right?
Yeah. Anyways. Bob, you threw me right off. Anyhow, yeah, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. This is years and years ago. I had just been on the job maybe a couple of years at the time. And we get an alarm to a 3-story walk-up, nice neighborhood. And we get there, it was a part of a working fire. And the chief had been told ahead of time, apparently somebody had poured gasoline all down the hallway on the 3rd floor. So there's no egress out the hallway. So he said, everybody ladder the place. And he said, get the people off the 3rd floor, they're at the windows. So of course we arrive and the smoke's just rolling out all the windows on the 3rd floor. So I grabbed the ladder with this other guy and we were running on to the far end, and I see this woman, and she's hanging out, and she got no clothes on, and she's screaming, hanging out the window. And the other guy says, "Whoa, what? Doug, right here!" So I stopped, put the ladder up. I started up. He goes, "Doug, back down." He said, "You got the ladder backwards." I'm thinking backwards. What the hell does he mean backwards?
Yeah.
So I came down. As soon as I stepped off the bottom rung, he ran up and got her, threw her over her shoulder. And sure enough, she was bucket bare ass naked. Down the ladder, she brought her and smiling at me the whole time. Never happened to me again.
Yeah, you fell for it, didn't you? Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Never happened to me again.
Well, I remember another time you had a bare-ass woman in your arms. Nancy and I were at home. We were doing something in the house, painting or something like that. She had a pair of sweats on. I must have been on vacation. And Doug was coming back from an alarm that was in our neighborhood, so he brings a fire truck around and stops in front of us. And Doug runs out, jumps in, runs into the house, and picks up Nancy like that and holds her up with her knees and under her shoulders and works his way out the door, and her sweatpants got caught on the handle of
All I heard was a rip, and then I ran out to the truck, towards the truck, with the guys all looking and thinking, "What are you doing?" I was thinking they're looking at me going, "Oh my God, like, I can't believe you're doing this, Doug. Who's this woman?" And meanwhile, I know Nancy really well. She said, "Doug, put me down, put me down." I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "My ass." You ripped my ass out of my jogging pants. Oh, sorry, like that. So I set her down. Anyway, that's what the guys were looking at. Oh my God.
Okay, well,
Too funny.
I got a story, but nobody's naked, and then.
Oh, it's
Oh, well, we don't want to
yeah,
hear about
okay.
it. Cut.
All right, sorry. We were working in South End Fire Hall, where the chief was gonna save some money. So with manpower, they had us jumping between two vehicles. So we had an engine company and a aerial in the hall, and our crew of 4 was instructed to obviously take the pump for pump calls and take the aerial when required, when it was dispatched. So we had to put our bunker gear in the middle of between the two trucks, and then, obviously the pump went out a little more often than the aerial did, but it was a very confusing and I don't think super efficient way to run the show, but the decision was way above my pay grade. But anyway, we get an alarm in the middle of the night, and it's for the engine company. So on the truck we get, and we're gone for maybe 10 or
On the
12
engine you
minutes. Sorry,
You got it on the engine.
we got on the engine, 4 of us, yeah, 4 of us. So I thought, so we end up. It's part of a general. We get returned. So we're rolling back around the back of the hall to go back in. I notice the lights are all on the apparatus floor, and the back bay door is open, and I'm thinking, what's going on? I look, and there's Tom, one of my crew members, has got the door open, and I'm pointing at him like, shouldn't you be, right? So anyway, we get back in the hall, we realize, he tells us, well, I thought it was the aerial. So he went and climbed on the aerial. The 3 of us climbed on the pump, and the pump left. And I said, didn't you notice that the one truck was leaving that you're not on? He goes, actually, I thought we were backing up. I was looking out the window, and I was bracing myself to hit the back
You
wall
saw
of
the pump moving along the side of it.
Exactly. So anyway, we of course gave him the gears after that. He said, "You're not obviously very important. We don't even."
What was
Don't
his
even miss
partner
ya.
talking to him?
Didn't
His
even-
partner was talking to him over the doghouse.
Yeah, they had a doghouse in the middle, right? So
The
that's-
motor of a pump was right between the
So
two
the
jump
guys
seats.
face backwards. That was those pumps.
That's correct. Yeah. So
Yeah, the guys-
what he was talking to him and not getting any answers, and he thought, well, I guess he's not a night person, so he's not talking to me. But we managed without him. So.
Yeah. They handled it, right? Handled it.
Exactly. Handled it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories as much as we enjoyed telling them. We post every Friday. And if you press the follow button, our postings just go directly to your mailbox. You don't have to remember to do it. And if you like us, write us a note. We'd like to hear from you. Until then, goodbye.